Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to get into this conversation around vouchers and the proposals that are looming. These are big considerations that will impact long-term, I would say, tokenomics and maybe viability of this game. This is a big deal. And so I want to weigh in on the conversation between the two proposals that are currently being, I guess they're in the pre-proposal phase. And it looks like they're both going to reach the proposal phase, and then we'll see what happens at that point. But I want to address what both of them are. I want to give my comments on each of them, and I want to conclude with a thought on where I believe this leaves vouchers and the game. If that sounds interesting, stick around and stay tuned. My name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel 1258, but you can just call me 12. Leave comments on this video or any video, and I'll read those regularly, and they may just turn them into a different video of its own. So if you have questions or comments or even critiques that you want to raise, those are a good place for me to hear it and then respond to it. Okay, let's get into it. So first and foremost, I saw that, how did I hear about this? I heard about this one first. This is Crypto Eater's proposal to sunset vouchers into DCB. And I want to say before I read this, if you don't know how to find pre-proposals, you can come into Peak Monsters and you go into, is it Explore? It is Explore, isn't it? No, it's in More. There it is, under Explore Proposals, and you'll see both the active ones, official proposals, and the community draft proposals. And that's where we're looking today. These are the two that we're going to touch on, and they're kind of competitive in terms of how they would approach the implications of vouchers, the use of vouchers, the editing or the change of what vouchers even are. And so they're both currently in approval phase. They have 5 days before this process is complete, and looks like they've round huge amount of success. So the community, that tells me one big thing: the community is actively interested in seeing vouchers be reworked in a positive way. There are some large votes that are saying no. 5 people have accumulated to great 3 million downvotes on Crypto Eater's proposal, and 150,000, which is one vote against the People's Guild proposal. Let's start with the Crypto Eaters, because that's the one I heard about first and foremost. I think I heard about this. I did. I think Crypto Eater popped onto the People's Guild and talked about this with Jangles and Fat Jimmy, I think. And they talked about this quite in depth. And I actually thought to myself, you know what? Vouchers probably do need to go. Crypto Eater's argument in a nutshell is that they are eroding the core value argument for DEC. If we can use vouchers for something, then we don't need DEC. If we don't need DEC, then we don't need to buy it or hold it to reach peg. Or rather, we don't need to buy it or hold it, which impairs its ability to reach peg. And that then it undermines the value proposition of SPS, because no one's going to burn SPS to access DEC if DEC is being given away for less than peg. Do you see how that has and will continue to affect our economy? So he says, let's just get rid of vouchers. There's too much of them. There's too many being created. They have no real usefulness. The in-game opportunities with them are also opportunities within DEC. That double opportunity, or those two ways to pay for the same thing, is a problem. And I think that's one piece that both Jangles or the People's Guild and Crypto Eater agree on. And we're going to see that they both touch that theme. Ultimately, the proposal from Crypto Eater is to stop the emission of all vouchers, to stop creating any more vouchers. And that has ramifications that are, I think, logical and make sense and are valuable, but also it has a downside for certain people who are counting on voucher creation or who are hoping for long-term voucher price appreciation, which was a piece that I really want to talk on here at the end of this video, because ultimately that was a piece that some people were expecting and I think are still hoping for. So let's talk about that at the end of the video. But if we stop making them and we stop accepting them long-term, there's going to be a decline in that price value, right? Crypto Eater's not concerned about that, because he's seeing that as an opportunity for the DEC holders, or rather the general economy. If the DEC is bolstered by demand because there's one less option to pay with, then DEC ascends, and probably SPS benefits from that, because there might be burning of SPS that's allowing creation of DEC, because theoretically you got DEC at peg. That's a bit of the chain of thought. But stopping all creation of vouchers. And then all vouchers in game will have the option to be converted to DECB at a rate of 1 to 36 for DECB. That's the That's the kind that's staked to your account. That's you can't spend it on cards. You can use it on guild upgrades. You can use it on certain events where they allow that, but it's very limited. And it's a bit of a compromise. 36 is a bit better than the voucher value, but it's also a little bit worse than what, you would, if it says DEC, we would get 21 DEC if you were just to give it one voucher to DEC from a US dollar perspective at current price points. So it's a bit better than that. And yet it's not equivalent to the 50 DEC that a voucher allegedly is worth, right? And so it's a bit of a compromise. I think all this detail to me is minutia, and I'm not so concerned about it. I think the bigger issue is, do we generally agree that vouchers need to go away or not? Do we want to rework them or do we want to delete them? That's ultimately the conversation here. I do love that you thought this through, Crypto Eater. The card packs would need to be repriced permanently at a 4,000 DEC, because currently we have voucher discounts that are plausible. Same with validator nodes, by the way. There's voucher discounts in different areas within the game. All of those would have to be removed and reworked. And maybe it would mean you just give one final DEC price. I want to make one additional comment here, which I think is positive towards crypto readers thinking on this. Ultimately, when we look at the discounts that the game is giving us when we use vouchers, we have to recognize that those discounts are not genuine, not actual discounts, not in a real sense, because the company's going to figure out what they need to charge for the object, and then they're going to price it accordingly, and they're going to charge it more unless you have the vouchers, which is to say the actual price is whatever price it is with the voucher discount. They know that. They're not like, oops, we're not getting the money we want. They're planning, just like when you go to your favorite grocery clothing store and you see there's a sale price, but it says it's regular, $500, but today it's only $80. And you go, wow, what a great deal. Wait a second, $80 is what they want for it. They know that. They understand. It's not like, you're getting a great deal. It's just a sale price being labeled, and it can maybe cause an excitement or a FOMO in you that causes you to buy it. That's what stores like to do. And ultimately, that's a little bit what Splinterlands is doing with the pack prices. It's really just... So it's a bit of a game, and I'll tell you that not only is it not helping us from a price perspective, because the price is $4, not $5, even though it's technically $5. We have this way to get it for $4, so that's the real price. First point. Second point on that, people who don't understand how to engage with this space in the crypto space and trade tokens, understand markets or Hive keychain or Hive engine, etc. They're not necessarily aware of these opportunities, and so new players suffer because of hurdles, unnecessarily complicated hurdles such as this. These voucher discounts are actually problems and barriers to new player entrance into the game. So that's a bit of a thing I wanted to add there. And so I definitely agree that eliminating vouchers would allow a great degree of simplification, and that would be good for the tokenomics of Splinterlands and probably for the game and the approachability from the general lay public. However, as I alluded to earlier, there's the downside of those who were counting on the income. Either you bought vouchers as an investment, bought vouchers as a speculation, you're earning vouchers through things like validator nodes, and you want to do that long term. This has to address that somehow, and he admits that here. He says, that's not the one. He acknowledges that elsewhere. Is it in the cons? He acknowledges that somewhere in here about how we would need to figure out what we're going to do. Edits. This is it. He edits. Open to ideas about adding compensation to license holders and SPS stakers for loss of short-term rewards. What he's meaning is two things. One, if you have a validator node, you're not going to be earning vouchers because we're not making them anymore. We understand that. We want to acknowledge that. I'm open to ideas about how we compensate those people. But then the second piece he's saying there, he calls it a short-term reward loss. What he's meaning is that the vouchers you've lost have gone, you've lost that value. But then he believes this proposal will drive the economy into a better place because DEC ascends and therefore SPS ascends. And if he's right about that, then the loss experienced by license holders for no more vouchers being created will be temporary or short-term. Additionally, if we can find a way to compensate them with SPS or with whatever the thing may be, then that's another answer to how it would be short term. And so that's a bit of my thoughts around what Crypto Eater is proposing. And I generally am, I think, largely for what he's proposing. But then I see the crypto or the People's Guild have come forward and put their 2 cents in. And the summary: the solution removes the team's obligation to offer special value on every sale, eliminating the DEC discounts with vouchers, while providing exclusive benefits to those who will have staked SPS or purchased nodes. It is the simplest. Let's strike a balance. Let's read this part. To strike a balance between those advocating for the discontinuation of vouchers as a replacement for DEC and those who believe vouchers should offer exclusive benefits to SPS stakeholders and node holders. This is the core of what I see the People's Guild providing. This idea that they want to sustain vouchers, but in a different way, so that there's exclusive benefits to those who are SPS stakers and node operators. Maintaining vouchers in some way with some different sort of opportunity that comes out of them. The primary change, if approved, this proposal will end all current uses for vouchers, including as DEC replacements. That's key. That's like that's part of Crypto Eater's concern. He doesn't want to see DEC and vouchers being replaced like equal or equivalent. If they're both doing the same thing, then one of the tokens is redundant. And clearly vouchers are not core to the game. DEC has always been here, and that's why we lean towards DEC. And so he says, People's Guild agrees, we don't want to have them being included as a DEC replacement or as pack purchases or pre-sale access, etc. Simply put, vouchers will no longer be accepted as payment for anything other than explicitly marked voucher-only items in the Glint shop. That's the main crux of this proposal. And I won't get into the fullness of it, but I'll just say I understand where this is coming from, because there's this desire. He says it in here somewhere. He says something about trying to maintain. There it is. This is the simplest change to implement, which offers the team numerous opportunities to foster loyalty. This seems to be the main reason why People's Guild is raising this, because the concern around deleting or removing vouchers might spark concern from the community about, hey, you made these promises around what vouchers were. They were supposed to be time in the game. They were supposed to show my ownership and my commitment to you. And so access to them was important. They were going to unlock certain things. There were certain promises made. Matt has spoken to that and said, look, nothing is ever really truly promised. We're essentially in beta with Splinterlands. There's so much going on and being developed. This game is so early, even though we've been here for 5 years or 6 years or whatever. And so Matt himself has spoken to the idea of this loyalty concern, or this question around, the sustainability of like what they're promising. We all have to know that everything they're doing will be reworked if there's ever a problem. And that's both expected and appropriate. Now, you might disagree that you might say vouchers, it needs to stay or it shouldn't go, etc. But the question shouldn't be, the claim shouldn't be, we need to defend this sense of loyalty, or that we need to defend this sense of, the company made a promise and now they need to keep that promise. I don't believe that there was ever a promise. I think there was an attempt to make vouchers equal your time in this space and an acknowledgement how long you've been here. But clearly that hasn't worked. The value of vouchers is eroded so dramatically from $20 to 2 cents. And that's crazy. And there seems to be no path back to any sort of growth. Now you say things, and this is, I think, what People's Guild is suggesting. If we offered exclusive benefits, and they say down here, what that might look like given the current surges of development and sort of research, the goal to utilize existing assets for minimal effort implementation. The following outline serves as a guide, as the team may adapt it as needed. Use existing cards from the upcoming Rebellion reward set. Distribute through the Glint shop. This provides a year's worth of items. 4 cards, 1 release every 3 months. So this is one amazing example, and it's a great idea. But here's the problem. The team Matt has said that it's a lot of work to do all of these issuances. That's one piece of it. When we make it seem as though it's easy to release 4 cards every 3 months, we don't understand the back end work. And Matt spoke to that recently when Matt and Crypto Eater and I'm going to forget the other name, did a DAO video talking about this exact topic. He said, it's actually way more complicated than you guys understand for us to issue these releases. So no, we can't just do these piecemeal, because he's heard this idea many times before. And I love this idea, by the way. I love the idea we would release some reward cards now and some later, and it would give them, the team, more, they could stretch their ideas like People's Guild is suggesting. But the problem is the back end side of it. These releases cause a lot of attention, a lot of time. Got to make sure that it went properly, that there isn't some sort of gimmick or issue every single time. And so they actually want to just drop them 42, 43 cards at one time and be done with it. So that's a big issue. And so then here's my main criticism. And it's touched to that, it's connected to that. The idea of exclusive benefits is, one, hard to maintain, because you need a whole commitment from the team to build out that reward system. You've given one great idea here, People's Guild, but there's a problem with the issuance of that one great idea. And so then what are the ideas to create exclusive benefits? We can't just drop it on the team to come up with those. Now, if the community can provide those great ideas that's feasible for the team, I think they really would do that. And I think I would love to see that. If I want these sorts of implementation of regular new rewards, irrespective of this vote. Do you see what I mean? Like, I want that to happen even if People's Guild proposal doesn't happen. I think it's such a great idea, but we have to come to the team with what that exactly would look like, because they can't dream these things up for us. And the one issuance or one suggestion here, I don't think is going to work. So then what are these exclusive benefits? We can't just ask the team to figure that out. And so I do believe, one, this would be super hard to implement, because coming up with a laundry list of new ideas that are fun, exciting, create a certain amount of demand, that give vouchers their continued usefulness and value, will be hard work. And it'll be this constant maintenance of these exclusive benefits that will be far more work for the team. And again, the team has shrunk, and the budget has shrunk, and the runway has shrunk, and there's just so many reasons why adding extra difficulty is a problem. And although you say it would be the easiest to implement, you said that somewhere here, I don't really believe that's true. I think this would be, you say it's the simplest way to implement this. And I just go, I don't know. I really don't think so. And the fostering loyalty, I don't agree either. Like, this was not a promise. It was a discussion or a hope, but that hope fell flat, and we all know it did. And so let's not just keep doing the same problem for the same reason. Like, just because we tried it, we started it didn't work. So I'm definitely for just removing them, but I understand that has its own problems. Here's the thing. Here's where I want to land. Neither proposal are perfect, because this is a community of individuals that have differing opinions, and so none can satisfy everyone. We'll see where they land. I personally support deletion of all vouchers. Now, I don't own a lot of vouchers, and so I understand that you have a different stake in vouchers, and maybe that's a totally different concern to you. But I think what Crypto Eater said makes a lot of sense. He said it in the DAO conversation with Matt the other day. He said, if we all vote on things specifically and exclusively because of how they pertain to us personally and not how they pertain to the game broadly, that is going to be worse for us personally. I'll say that again. If the greatest amount of success for us individually sometimes is the greater good of the game, not just the short-term greater good for us. So what Crypto Eater pointed to back here in his proposal, where he talks about short-term loss he's talking about the license holders and SPS takers, but I think generally for anyone considering to hold vouchers right now, the short-term loss of vouchers being removed from the game would be a long-term gain toward those other assets you hold within the space. That's, I think, the argument where I land, and that's why I lean this way. But my final thought on this entire conversation is this. No matter which of these proposals goes forward, I think it's obvious from looking at Peak Monsters that a vast majority of people in this space are done with vouchers or have some idea about the radical need for change within the voucher token. If that is so, and it clearly is, then I think that leaves us in a place of we have to understand that vouchers, something has fundamentally changed about what vouchers are. I talk to you about Splinterlands regularly, and I say to you, if this game continues to be fun and has a future, in your opinion, then that's foundation you can stand on, and that's justification for sticking around and staying confident here. But something just changed within vouchers, meaning these are just pre-proposals, but clearly the community feels they either need to be redefined and limited within how they're used, which is a reduction in its current usefulness, or they need to be removed altogether. Do you see that? Both of these proposals are going to hurt vouchers. Either you're going to delete them, and that means they don't exist anymore, and of course that hurts them, or you're going to limit their usefulness by restricting how they can be used. Even if there's cool new exclusive benefits that come from using vouchers, there's a limitation of that implementation, which is necessarily a reduction in its usefulness. So both proposals, which are widely approved of, 90 to 95% approved so far in the pre-proposal phase, is pointing to a future where vouchers are not going to carry the same value they did in the past. I think we have a fundamental shift happening right now. And I think if you're taking vouchers as a serious part of your proposal or investment portfolio, this would change that for me. Thanks, guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.